A new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padre gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, that.
And good day, everybody. What's up? April 8th, 2022, Padres pregame show against the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. 6:40 p.m. Pacific time is the first pitch. Ben Fadden, your host here. I appreciate everyone for joining on in. This is not considered podcast episodes or a podcast episode. It will not be during the season. There might be some times where I combine this pregame show with an actual episode, like I did yesterday, when there's some actual news that goes on. But today, this is the first of sole pregame shows on YouTube and Twitter. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in, whether it's live or whether it's on replay right before the game. Tupac, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Last night for the Padres, obviously that was not a great ending. Yu Darvish pitched amazing, 6 shutout innings, didn't give up a run, didn't give up a hit. And then the bullpen fell apart there. Robert Suarez mainly. I saw some people mad at Stammen, and I was in my reaction video that I posted on Twitter. Anyone can go look at that. Or YouTube, Instagram, wherever you get it. I did have a reaction video after the loss, which I'll do probably almost every game, usually even when I am recording or going live after the game, which I'll probably do after every series is over. But in my reaction, I was a little mad at Stammen, but looking back on it now, can't really be. He came in. That's not what his job is. He comes in those clean innings where, maybe you need a few innings out of him, or it's like the 6th or the 7th. He's not a closer type guy. But who else were they going to go to who has that veteran experience? A lot of bullpen experience under their belt. You had Robert Suarez, who they ended up going to before Stammen, because he had closing experience before, and before Taylor Rogers got acquired, he was probably going to be the guy. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for Robert Suarez. But like Lamet, I saw people, throwing Lamet's name out there. Hey, maybe he should have had Lamet, or he should have had Pierce Johnson go 2 innings. Bob Melvin's not going to go give Pierce Johnson 2 innings in the first game of the season. It's a long season. So I don't think that was going to happen. And yes, Czar comments here. Any word why Lamet was not used? I didn't hear anything on why he wasn't used, but again, I think maybe they were saving him for today, something like that, because they do have Minaya, a lefty, on the mound, which we'll get into a little bit. And that could be that lefty-righty after Minaya. Maybe you bring Lamet in. I wouldn't expect him to come in, in the 8th or a 9th inning situation in his first relief outing of the season. That's just me. But to answer that question, no, I did not hear any word on why Lamet wasn't used. I think Bob Melvin wanted to go to the guy that he knew was not going to, or at least he thought wasn't going to crumble. Stammen, first pitch, wild pitch back to the backstop. Yeah, that wasn't great. The meatball wasn't great that he gave up to Seth Beer that ended up, ending the game there. But at the same time, if Stammen were to go into that game in a clean inning, right, that would have only been a 1-run home run, solo home run. But that's not what was happened. So I think Stammen is used for clean innings, and that's where he's best. But again, that's kind of an excuse. But again, Padres are 0-1. Talking about this pregame show. Everyone, welcome on in. I appreciate everyone for tuning on in here. Padres 0-1, Diamondbacks 1-0. First pitch, like I mentioned earlier, 6:40 p.m. Pacific time. Bally Sports San Diego is where you can watch it. MLB TV is where you also can watch it, like I will be watching it on for out-of-market fans. 97.3 The Fan has the radio call with Jesse and Tony. Diamondbacks right now, first place in the National League West. Padres are last place, 1 game back, 1 game into the season. Who cares? But I will be saying where each team is in their divisions, during these pregame shows. Pitching matchup for today, Shawn Manaea against Merrell Kelly. Shawn Manaea, if you don't remember, in his last spring training start, or his first with the Padres last Sunday, 3 2/3 innings, gave 1 earned run, 6 hits, walked just 1, 4 strikeouts. What I liked about seeing in that last spring training outing from him was that he was able to hit his spots, and that was something that hasn't always happened with Padres starting pitching. The first guy that you kind of think of as Blake Snell, someone who gets ahead of counts and then falls behind. That's not really the case that I saw with Minaya, and that's not really the case that he's been in Oakland, how it's happened with him on the mound in Oakland. So hopefully that can continue. Merrell Kelly just received an extension from the Diamondbacks. If he was in the Padres rotation, he'd probably be like a 5 starter. So that kind of just tells you the Diamondbacks' depth or lack of depth in the starting rotation. But that is the pitching matchup, Shawn Manaea against Merrell Kelly. I'd give the Padres the advantage there in that pitching matchup. Going to the bullpen. So for anyone that's new, I do a pregame Padres bullpen usage chart that goes out before every Padres game this season. And so if you're new, I put this bullpen chart out before the pregame show that I just wrote up. And for anyone new, the numbers that are highlighted in this chart are the total pitches that each reliever threw yesterday. But for going forward, there will be multiple, days on this chart. So for tomorrow, the bullpen chart will be for April 9th, and it will have not just April 7th's game and who pitched, how many pitches they threw, but tonight's game, how many pitches any reliever that threw, how many pitches they threw. So this chart, I hope, is, good for the fans, just seeing, just to see who might be available, kind of like a Bob Melvin thing, because I'm sure this is what the Major League coaching staff looks at a little bit. Not my chart. I'm not expecting them to look at my chart. I'm just saying, looking at pitch counts, seeing which guys are down. They know who are probably down before they even go into the game, but they're not going to tell us most times because they don't want to tip that to the other team, because maybe that would help with matchups. If Bob Melvin says, for example, that Tim Hill and Tyler Rogers are out for tonight, which I hope not. I think Rogers is available. But let's say Tim Hill's out and they didn't have Rogers available either. Well, then that eliminates all lefties in the bullpen. So Torey Lovullo, the Diamondbacks manager, could go into the game and they could, stack lefties in the lineup and not be worried about having to pinch hit for them or something, because they know that they're going to have the favorable, righty on lefty matchup. So right now, as the bullpen stands, Pierce Johnson's probably not going to pitch today. 24 pitches yesterday. Stammen's fine. 2 pitches, obviously the wild pitch and then the walk-off homer. Suarez, I think Bob Melvin's one of those guys that wouldn't be afraid to stay away from him, or he wouldn't be afraid to just put him right back out there and say, hey, go get a clean inning, get some more confidence back. But at the same time, there's also a lot of guys that weren't used yesterday. And so if Suarez comes in and feels a little tired, then he's probably going to stay away from him because of how early in the season it is. First game last night. Tim Hill could be used, but they have a lefty available in Taylor Rogers tonight because he's now on 1 day's rest, because he did throw that extended bullpen on, Wednesday. That's why he was unavailable yesterday. That's why they had to go to Suarez and then Stammen instead of Rogers. But I think Rogers will be available today. So that's the bullpen situation. Adams, Chris Matt, Guerra, Lamet, Steven Wilson, Taylor Rogers, Craig Stammen. Those guys are probably all available to pitch today. But again, it is a 4-game series, so the Padres will, have that in mind as well. Let's get to some comments here before I get to the lineups. Yeah, this is an exciting game. I'm excited. I get we're 0-1, but guess what? It's one game. That's what the beauty of baseball, right? Turn the page, go right to the next game. We got Shawn Minaya debuting. We got Taylor Rogers maybe making his Padres debut later in the game. Hopefully it's a closing save situation. You got C.J. Abrams making his debut. Zach is right. It is an exciting day, new day. Manaea and C.J. Jorge Alfaro is also debuting. We'll get to him. Zach says, I think the offense comes out pissed off today and we see some dingers. Hopefully. I hope so. We'll see. Merrell Kelly, I think Tatis did pretty good off him last year, but just looking at the matchups, I think – no, these are career. So from the matchups that I'm looking at, any Padre, they don't have really much history off of Merrell Kelly. Hosmer's hitting 250 off him. Grisham's hitting 250 off him. Profar 333. But it's probably a small sample size. Voit has 1 RBI. So when he was with the Yankees, he probably had an RBI there in an interleague series. But yeah, today's an exciting day. JD's third says, so much pressure on CJ, maybe too much. I think there's more excitement I'd label than pressure. I don't think there's that much pressure. I think the pressure will increase if we see him get off to a great start and then Kim struggles and then CJ's like the full-time shortstop and then the offense continues to struggle and it's like, okay, well, CJ, you're going to have to do something. I would say it's more excitement. Pressure, look, you're not going to fill Tatis's shoes, especially when you are Abrams and you just don't have the power right now that Tatis has. It's just not there. But he's one of those guys, at least from spring training, that it seems like he just goes out and plays. Has fun, steals bases, not afraid to steal, to run, not afraid to do any of that. There's sometimes, and I'm sure it'll happen tonight, where he misses a fastball, like swings at a fastball up. But again, that's what the Padres signed up for, They have CJ on the roster because they believe that the positive that he can do will outweigh the negative. The positive influence that he can have on the game, the aspects, the different tools, 4-tool player that I think he is right now. He has, I'll put it this way, he contributes to the team in a winning way more than I think in a losing way. I think that's what the Padres are banking on. And they know, they've said it. Preller said it, I think, before opening day yesterday. He was just saying how, look, we know that CJ is still developing. So days that he's not playing, we're going to have him take advantage of the coaching staff that he has around him. We're going to, take advantage of the resources and still make sure he's learning when he's not playing. And then when he is playing, he's obviously learning then and having experience in the big league. So they realize that not everything's going to be, all smooth, and that's okay. Let's see here. This is an interesting one. Gil said Ethan Elliott, retired top lefty prospect, was going to get a second surgery that would have kept him out most likely for the whole year, closed the book on him. Yeah, that was a little weird for me. Like, he was one of the prospects that I think was floated in trade, at least proposals, fan proposals. And for him to retire, I mean, I follow the minor leagues, right? All the minor league teams send info to me about games. So that's how I update you guys on the Talking Friars Twitter about game. Ryan Weathers really struggled last night. He has an ERA of 135 right now because he gave up 5 runs in his first start of his minor league season last night. But getting back to Ethan Elliott, yeah, I don't know how much he would have impacted the team if he reached the big leagues and all that. But yeah, it was definitely a surprise, and that's one less trade chip for the Padres. Sar says, your bullpen chart's a cool idea. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think, look, what I'm trying to do for this channel, and I hope anyone watching hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications button on my YouTube channel, on this YouTube channel, so you don't miss whenever I go live, don't miss a video. And getting back to this comment here, my goal here with this channel is to provide great content for you guys and to provide content that you're not going to find elsewhere. You're going to find, people giving, having these post-game shows, right? You have Valley Sports has a post-game show, radio has a post-game show. John and Jim have a wrap-up show that they do sometimes. And so I will go live after games if it's like a huge moment or something like that. But most of the time it's going to be reaction videos like I did yesterday. And then once series are over, whether that's after that game or the morning after, or it's just recorded and I put it out, I will do that then. But I like having these pregame shows because no one else is doing it. Daily pregame shows before. There's other pregame shows, right? On the radio, on Bally. But in terms of a YouTube pregame show, I hope that this is something that everyone enjoys. And no one else is doing the bullpen chart either. So I want to do things that other people aren't doing. And so people can come to this channel to get stuff that they're not going to get elsewhere, if that makes sense. So I appreciate that, Czar. And everyone, make sure hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers by the end of tonight. Hopefully that can happen. And I expect to have a reaction video after this game tonight. And by the way, during the season, I will be having, hopefully, some, in-game watch parties, stuff like that, maybe for a few innings or the entire game, whenever. Maybe there's a huge game or something. So I will definitely think about that if people are up for that. I don't know if people will be interested in that, but we'll see. And then, like I mentioned, I'll be in Petco Park later this summer, providing content inside Petco Park as well. So stay tuned for that. Let's just go through the comments real quick here. Czar says, "What's up with Paddock's salty comments about our uniform?" Yeah, he was saying how he looks better in the Twins uniform, and he looked like UPS, like a UPS driver or whatever here. Yeah, I didn't really like that. I'll discuss that on the next episode of the podcast, going over this Diamondback series. So stay tuned for that. But, yeah, I'll kind of leave it at that and give my thoughts, during that episode. But, yeah, I didn't really like that. I didn't think he had to go that far. All right, let's get to the Padres and Diamondbacks lineups. I'll share my screen for anyone interested in seeing the lineups visually. All right, here we go. So we got Trent Grisham leading off for the Padres, playing center. So he's in the leadoff spot for the first time this season. He hit ninth last night. You got Machado hitting second, Cronenworth hitting third, Voit hitting fourth, Hosmer, Profar, Myers, Abrams, and then Alfaro. Abrams and Alfaro making their Padre debuts, so they don't have an average. Myers had a tough night last night. Grisham, I think he's more comfortable in the leadoff spot, so that's probably good. Manny went hitless. Cronenworth went hitless last night. Voit had that one RBI, which was a walk with the base loaded. Walked twice last night. He was swinging out of his shoes, which I kind of like, but I also don't really like know the situation. I know it's his job to drive in runs, but I think he had the bases loaded last night and he was swinging out of his shoes. Just put the ball in play when you're not really scoring many runs. Hosmer did double off of Mad Bum. That's kind of the annual extra base hit on opening day off Mad Bum thing that Hosmer does. Kim put together good at-bats. I know he's not starting, but he put some good at-bats together as well last night. In terms of how I like this lineup, to be honest, I know Abrams is a lefty, so you don't want back-to-back lefties, 9-1 with Grisham and Abrams. But I don't really understand having Alfaro hit ninth. Like, that feels like a Profar type situation there where you put Profar ninth because he is a switch hitter. Like, Alfaro, especially in spring training, like, he was a power bat. So to put him ninth, I don't really understand that. He is a righty, so you could just swap him and Profar 6 and 9 spot. That's what I would have probably done, just looking at this lineup right now, just eyeballing it. I don't really understand the Alfaro hitting ninth thing. Let me see in the comments if everyone, let me know what you think of Alfaro hitting ninth. Anyone have any thoughts on Alfaro hitting ninth? What do you think of today's lineup? Again, it's Grisham, Manny, Cronenworth, Voit, Hosmer, Profar, Myers, Abrams, and then Alfaro. For the Diamondbacks, it's a lot of names that probably fans don't really know. Cooper Hummel, he wasn't in the lineup last night. Ketel Marte, Carson Kelly, Christian Walker, David Peralta, Dalton Varsho in center, Geraldo Perdomo in place of Nick Ahmed, Pavin Smith, Drew Ellis. So some of these guys were in there: Varsho, Peralta, Walker, Kelly, Marte, Perdomo, Smith, Ellis. So it's majority of the same guys in the lineup that were last night. Seth Beer obviously came in, I think, off the bench, with that walk-off homer last night. But yeah, I mean, the Diamondbacks lineup is whatever. Like, the reason why they scored that one run off Suarez is because he just walked and hit guys, right? Or excuse me, off Stammen, was because it was a wild pitch from him, and Suarez loaded the bases from walks and hit by pitch. So it's not like they were producing a lot of runs. Same thing with the Padres last night, by the way. Like, Bumgarner had those 4 walks that produced the Voit RBI, the first run of the game, and then Nola had a pretty much grounder through the right side that snuck through. That gave the second run. So there wasn't a whole lot of like actual run production hitting wise last night. And hopefully there isn't much again for the Diamondbacks with Minaya on the mound. And we'll see what the Padres can do off of Merrell Kelly later tonight. All right, we got some comments about the lineup here. Alfaro hitting ninth is weird, but I figure the regulars are getting lineup preference. If Alfaro shows out tonight, I expect his next lineup spot to be higher, like 5th or 9th. Well, I think if that happens, if the regulars are getting lineup preference, that doesn't really make sense. Like, you put the guys in there who you think will help you the most, right? So I get the regulars, the lineup preference. Like, there are some people like Alfaro. My point is Alfaro is better with power, and offensively he's just better and can have that power potential more than Profar. And Profar might be a regular, at least right now, in left field, but is that really best to put him 6th over Alfaro when Alfaro has more of a power potential? I would kind of disagree with that. Quan says, I'm not mad at the lineup. Lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, switch. But since Profar is a switch hitter, I'd put Alfaro 8th and Abrams 9th. Yeah, I can see what you're thinking with that. I think what the Padres would try to avoid, though, with putting Abrams 9th is they don't want the back-to-back lefties, right? Where right now with their lineup that they have, starting with Hosmer hitting 5th, you have lefty, switch, righty, righty, and then lefty again when you go back up to Grisham. So most teams these days, they really value that righty-lefty type thing so that bullpens can't, stack. So opposing bullpens can't, just go full on put in righties for an inning, put in a righty for an inning because he knows that there's, 2-3 lefties in a row. They try to avoid that. So they at least get some favorable matchup at some point during each inning. Let's get to now, after going over the lineups, what to watch for. I have a few. Alfaro in the 9th spot, like I mentioned, I kind of disagree with that, but see how that goes. You go righty with Alfaro and then lefty Grisham leading off. C.J. Abrams' debut, obviously. That's what I'm watching for, the big thing. Manaea also, but C.J. Abrams, top prospect, debut, starting shortstop. Let's see what he does. Hopefully he can be clean defensively after some, rough throwing errors in spring. In spring training had some kind of Tatis throwing errors. How Tatis had some throwing errors early last year, and just starting off in his career, that's kind of what Abrams was going through in spring. So we'll see if that continues, going into the season, and just see if, he is comfortable, against this real major league pitching for 9 innings, right? Because in some spring training, he wasn't facing major league pitching every at bat. He was facing major league pitching. Like, he hit over, I think, 300 against major league pitching in spring. So I'm not saying that he can't do it, but just let's see him face it. I'm interested to see how he does, every at bat major league pitching. Let's see how he does. So again, Abrams is hitting in the 8 hole. I think that, again, doesn't really put a whole lot of pressure on him, putting him 8th instead of like leadoff or anything. I think Grisham, likes being leadoff as well. My second what to watch for, Minaya, hitting his spots. I want to see if he can hit his spots, create some quicker innings than Darvish did with smaller pitch counts, so he can go farther than you. Now, I'm not saying I'm expecting Minaya to, give up 0 hits, through 6 innings. I'm not, carry a no-hitter until the bullpen, right? I'm not give it to a bullpen with a no-hitter. I'm not expecting that. What I mean is get some quicker outs, don't walk 4 guys like Darvish did last night. I know it's a little picky in terms of Darvish's performance, but with Minaya, and I'm, basing it off of his spring training start with the Padres, how he hit his spots. Hopefully he can do that again, because if he hits his spots, major league hitters are going to swing, right? So hopefully that leads to contact that are outs. Doesn't leave stuff over the middle, just basic stuff like that. Just main thing, seeing if Manaea hits his spots. Those are some what to watch for me tonight. C.J. Abrams debuting, Minaya hitting his spots, Alfaro in that 9 spot. See how that works out. Again, I just flip Profar and Alfaro, but that's just me. My Padre pick. That's a little quick segment I'll do for every pregame show. The one guy I think will get a hit today, kind of like a Padres beat the streak version. Anyone who knows Padres beat the streak. Not Padres beat the streak, MO beat the streak. It's an app that you can download where you pick up to 2 guys every day of the season that you think will get a hit. And if they get a hit, your streak, if 2 guys get a hit, let's say, your streak is at 2. And then you have another 2 the next day. If they both get hits, then your streak's at 4, and so on and so forth. You can pick 1 guy, you can pick 2 guys, you cannot pick a guy. And if you have a streak, then it continues on to what the next day or whenever you pick another hitter. And when you get if you get to 56, Joe DiMaggio's record, you get $5.6 million. So Padres, beat the streak equivalent, picking 1 guy who I think will get a hit before every game for Padres this season, something new that I'm implementing here. Last night I picked Hosmer for my beat the streak. I don't think I announced it on the pregame episode or episode 146, just because I was kind of rushed because I wanted to talk about the actual trades and the call-ups, the roster decisions. But here, now that I have time, I picked Hosmer last night because it was Bumgarner, and I knew that, look, Hosmer owns Bumgarner. And so that pick ended up working out. First at bat, double down the line. Probably the only time I'll ever pick Hosmer. Opening day every year. It's what it seems like a slam dunk. Tonight I'll go Jake Cronenworth. I like that. Didn't get a hit last night. That left on righty, Jake lefty, Merrell Kelly a righty. So I like that matchup. Jake obviously hitting 3rd, so he's going to get some at-bats, obviously, at the top of that order. So I'm going to go with Cronenworth. I like that favorable matchup there in terms of left on right. Feel free in the comments to say who you think will get a hit, at least 1 hit tonight. Yeah, Shawn says it's called MLB Play Now. Yeah, you're right, but it's also that app. You download that app. there's two like segments. There's two like different things in it. And I can look at the app right now. There's beat the streak, and then there's like quick pick, I think is what it's called, where they're bringing back that game. I think that's where you pick, like, as you're going along with the game, you can go along with the game and make picks on what's going to happen, like what the result is. Then you build up points. So the app, Shawn, yeah, it's MLB Play, but it's still, I believe, beat the streak. Just that specific part of the app. Let's see here. Shawn says, trade Grisham, he sucks. Trade Gore for Reynolds. Okay, that's a little overreactionary there just because, what, are you basing it off yesterday? Are you basing it off last year? I think you got to give him more time. I mean, he won a Gold Glove. I think the Padres haven't had great offensive center fielders in their history. Trading for Reynolds, okay, you're going to have to give up Hassel or Abrams. I've said this many times. I don't want to do that. So just saying that and saying trade Gore for Reynolds also, I mean, the Padres, there's no chance of that happening. There's no chance. They're not trading Mackenzie Gore because I would say that odds are they're not bringing back all three of Clevenger, Musgrove, and Minaya next year after this season, and they're all scheduled to be free agents. So you need someone to come in and replace them, right? And I think Gore will have an impact this year on the team. That's not happening, especially with the great spring that he had. Gore's not getting traded. They love. It seems like that Ruben Niebla and Gore connection's working out really well. They're not trading Mackenzie Gore. All right, before we get out of here, let's go through some of the MLB score. I said the MLB, dang it. I hate that. Whenever it says the MLB, it's like they don't know what they're talking about. I said the MLB because I put scores after that. Let's check some MLB scores. There we go. Yankees played the Red Sox earlier today. Some say best rivalry in baseball, best rivalry in sports, and lived up to it today. Garrett Cole sucked in the first inning, gave up a home run to Rafael Devers, left one over the middle to J.D. Martinez. Then Rizzo came back with a home run later in the first after re-signing with the Yankees in the offseason. It ended up being Josh Donaldson being the hero for the New York Yankees today. They beat the Red Sox in their home opener, their opening day matchup. And I'll show the video. Josh Donaldson with a walk-off single at Yankee Stadium. Here it is.
Grounded up the middle. Does it get through? Yes, it does. Here comes Connor Falefa. It's a walk-off RBI single for Josh Donaldson. His first game as a Yankee, and the Yankees win 6-5, and the celebration begins. A nice welcome to pinstripe moment for Josh Donaldson in his first game as a Yankee.
You get a lot of at-bats, and on the sixth one of the day, comes through. And you see the intensity level that he brings.
Now, we talked about the emotion at the start of the show, and you saw it right there, the edge, the swag. And that one just sneaks through the infield to score. Isaiah.
Yeah, so there's the walk-off. Josh Donaldson. I like his energy. He definitely is an energy spark plug there. Got him out of the National League. But, yeah, the Yankees-Red Sox seems like it's going to be a good rivalry there this year. That series continues this weekend. And that'll be the Sunday night baseball game, I believe. Padres-Braves is the Sunday night baseball game next weekend. So that'll be exciting. You got the K-Rod cast on ESPN2, I believe, that next Sunday as well. And that'll end the Padres' first home series of the season next Sunday. So the Yankees won. Just going over some Major League Baseball scores from earlier today. Let's see. This one was interesting. Let's see here. Javi Baez and the Detroit Tigers I'm sure there's some people that kind of forgot that Javi Baez signed with the Tigers. But he hit a walk-off single. It ended up, this is, okay, just to set this up here. So Liam Hendriks on the mound, bottom 9, runner on third, 2 outs. So Baez hits this fly ball to right, and Pollock catches it, and he thinks, the umpires initially think as well, that it was just a fly out. He caught up against the wall, and they're going to go to extra innings, like the Yankee-Red Sox game ended up going to extra innings. But when they looked at the replay, the ball hit off the wall, and that runner on third obviously easily scored. So here is Baez's walk-off and how that turned out.
Afternoon. To right field. Deep. Pollock backpedaling at the wall, and he catch it. He did.
See, the broadcast said he caught it.
It hits him up, and then he grabbed it. Baez claiming it hit the wall.
Well, AJ's going to come out now and take a look at it. Or laterally, let's take a look. We'll get a look right here.
Oh. It hits off the wall.
Clearly hit off the wall.
Yeah, so that's got to be a game winner.
Ricocheted off his glove, then it looked like
But it hit the wall first, right?
Baez said it right away.
There they come.
The crowd knows it, and so do the Tigers.
All right, so Tigers ended up winning that one against the White Sox. That's kind of weird. Let's see. Oh, it froze. Hold on one second. I'll play it one more time then. Maybe it's the Wi-Fi. I don't know.
His last time up in a 1-for-4 afternoon. To right field. Deep. Pollock backpedaling at the wall, and he catch it. He did. It bounced out. It hits him up, and then he grabbed it. Baez claiming it hit the wall.
All right. See how it hit the wall? It hit the wall, and then so Pollock thought he caught it, but I mean he did, but it hit the wall. So obviously that wasn't an out. So they didn't go to extra innings, and the White Sox end up taking that home opener there. Not the White Sox. The Tigers beat the White Sox. But just looking at some other MLB scores here, the Marlins and the Giants right now, so some NOS there, they're tied. They're going to extras, it looks like. Mets and Nationals are in the top of the second. That game's on Apple TV Plus, by the way. Max Scherzer's Mets debut. Texas, Toronto looks like it's about to start. Cincinnati, Atlanta in the second inning tie game. Thairo Estrada, by the way, for the Giants, he hit a solo homer down 5-4 in the bottom of the ninth to tie it for the Giants to put it into extra innings. So the Giants fans are going crazy there. So again, Yankees beat the Red Sox 6-5. Detroit beat Chicago 5-4. Phillies beat the A's 9-5. The Rays beat the Orioles 2-1. The Dodgers beat the Rockies 5-3. So Dodgers obviously playing in Colorado. Buehler got the win. Kimbrel got the save. Just trying to see here if there's any notable big play that happened in this game. Like Russell Wilson threw the first pitch for the Rockies. All right, so Dodgers ended up winning that one 5-3. Yeah, Quan says Giants blew a quality start by Logan Webb. Yeah, it seemed like they were going to take that game. Logan Webb's obviously their ace, and that didn't work out great. What's up, Uncle Nick? Yeah, Scotty Scheffler's on fire. I know the big story is Tiger Woods there at the Masters, and he's at 1 over, I think. Kind of struggled on the front nine, bogeyed like 4 out of his first 5 holes, and then came back. But yeah, Scheffler has a big lead. But I mean, it's a great story. I mean, Tiger, less than a year and a half after shattering his ankle, and seemed like, I mean, they were at least thinking about amputating it. You know, the police, I think, said that he was lucky to be alive, and now he's playing at Augusta in his first tournament back. That's pretty cool. Quan says, how's Fowler doing? Ricky Fowler? I think he missed the cut. Oh, wait, no. Is he even playing in this tournament? Oh, he didn't qualify. He didn't even qualify for it. Elda San Diego says, Pollock is Bush League. What a piece of trash. Why is Pollock Bush League? I don't get it. I know, I mean, he smashed the Padres. That's what I'm happy about, is he doesn't have to play the Padres. He's not playing the Padres anymore. Because he crushed us. Robbed Manny last year at Petco. I remember that. Hit that home run to center in that 16-inning game that I was at. Stayed the whole 16 innings in that game. That was crushing. That was the game where Tingler was pinch hitting pitchers, in the middle of the lineup. But yeah, I'm happy that he's not with the Dodgers anymore. I mean, they still have a good, replacement in Chris Taylor, but I'm just happy he's not there anymore. All right, this has been the pregame show, Talking Friars pregame show. Ben Fadden here. Probably have a reaction video after the game, and then I'll have a podcast YouTube show after the series ends on Sunday. Have a pregame show before tomorrow's game, reaction after tomorrow's game. Today feels like a Saturday for some reason, but today is a Friday. Padres, Shawn Minaya on the mound. Merrell Kelly on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks, 97.3 The Fan and on the radio. Valley Sports San Diego TV, 6:40 p.m. Pacific time, first pitch. Tune in. I appreciate everyone. Hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video or when I go live. Again, I appreciate everyone for coming here, watching this pregame show, and enjoy the game tonight.